There's three main things I focus on to create the coolest lead lines. The first thing is locating the structure of the major pentatonic scale. Number two is locating the major scale within that pentatonic scale. And three, most important, target the chord tones, the notes in the chords. My name is Rusty, and welcome to my worship guitar channel. For these examples today, we're going to be working in the key of F, B flat, D minor, and going to C. So the first thing I want to do is locate the F major pentatonic. You can almost always look at the first chord and use the corresponding pentatonic. In this case, it's F major, so F major pentatonic. The root note here in the 13th fret of the E string we're going to keep a lot of these examples within this small part of the fretboard, but these can be expanded all over this fretboard. Now I really want to locate the major scale within that pentatonic. I like to use the structure of the major pentatonic, but these other notes are so important in improvising and just creating some great melody lead lines. Now we want to target the chord tones, the notes in the chords, because that really gives it some connection to the progression you're playing over. So for the F chord, we're looking at F, A, and C, and another triad, or the notes in the chord right here from this bar chord. The notes are in a different order, but it doesn't matter. It's still an F chord. And B flat, so B flat, D, and F. D minor, D, F, and A. And then the C chord, C, F, G. It's so good to look down at the fretboard and see these little shapes around the scales that you're working with, because it's easier to target these notes. If this lesson's helpful, hit that like button. I really do appreciate all your support. So by targeting the notes in the chords, we can create the coolest lead lines. So let's break down some of these ideas. I'm going to keep the effects off because I really want you to hear these notes. But I was using the cloud setting of the Strymon Big Sky in that little demo solo. So that was over the F chord, which started the progression, just hitting the F note a couple times in the 13th fret of the E string, then pulling off to 12. Then 13 on the B string, and then landing on a A note, which is the 14th fret of the G string. That's the important one. Remember, the F chord has an A in it. So important. And these just pulling off like that to the E note just gives it some movement. Then we can keep that theme going up to the D note this time for the target note, which will land on the 15th fret of the B string, And remember, there's a D note in the B flat chord, which is what you're playing over right there. So the first part, and remember, you can do these down here. So going to the D minor chord, we are hitting the D note here on 15 of the B string, half bend on 17 of the E string, and then release, and hitting the D note again in 15. And then finishing with a little arpeggio, 13, 17, and then the D note on 15 of the B string. Fits that chord perfectly. And then as I'm going back to that theme again, as it's coming back to the C chord, targeting the E note, which is in the C chord. The major third of the C chord is E. So again, we're going to do that pull off, hitting G in the 12th fret this time, then sliding down to 9 on the G string, which is that E note. And then the progression's going back to F. So if we just add a little bit of the cloud setting of the Strymon Big Sky, when I'm improvising at church, I use these 3 steps, locating the major pentatonic. The next thing is the major scale within that pentatonic scale. That's some great structure right there. But the most important thing is targeting the notes of the chord, especially when you're resolving, because that's the note that everybody really is hanging on before it goes to the next chord. Hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and remember, God is good.